Hey everybody, it's Dave from Fantasy Basketball Analyzer. I'm gonna try this go live thing again. I tried to do live stream a couple days ago before the NBA season actually tipped off. I was having some technical troubles, so hopefully I worked that out. Um, so yeah, here's what I did to fix the live stream. If anyone's curious, I forgot. It was really silly of me. I have the internet. I have the internet right here, and I didn't turn it on. So like, I'm pretty sure now that the internet's on, we're not going to lose connection this time. So I'll put the internet right there so we don't lose it. Anyone who knows what the heck I'm talking about, why don't you leave a comment and let me know that I've got some like-minded fans out there. But the internet's running. Looks like we're live streaming. So, yeah, basketball is here. How much have you been watching? I've been watching a lot. Although I've been watching a lot so that I could talk to you guys about it because I'm kind of guessing everyone can't watch as much. So I'm going to try and recap what I've seen in the games by watching the game film. But I wanted to get kind of quick responses out to you guys in case people are trying to pick up free agent wires and whatever. I'm not going to just read you box scores because I don't need to read you box scores. If you have eyes and you're watching this, that means you have eyes and you can read box scores. So I'm going to talk about the stats because it's fantasy basketball and the stats matter. But I'm going to try and get into a little bit of what I saw, and I haven't gotten to see all the games yet because we had 2 games opening night, but those are all nationally televised. So I'm not going to talk about it too much because presumably you got to see it if you wanted to see it. But we had 11 games last night. So there's like 11 plus hours of basketball if you cut out the commercials. And there's only so much time I can fit in. So let's get into the games. But first, not beer, but first Slurpee. Sorry, it's the middle of the day. I'm live right now. I have to go pick up my kid in a little bit. I don't want to be the guy who goes to pick up his daughter from preschool and like, what did you do all day? Oh, I watched a ton of basketball and then drank a beer on YouTube. So, but first beer, we'll have to wait for the later video. So I'm going to try and do a video breaking down some of the game film, but obviously it takes longer because I have to get the game film together and put it together. So here's just kind of my high level stuff. I did not yet get to watch Cleveland, Orlando, Suns, Kings, Denver, Portland, Knicks, Spurs. So I don't have a lot of notes on that yet. Again, if I'm just reading the box score, you can do that. I'm not going to waste the time. So let's start off with my once beloved, now just too dumb to quit Chicago Bulls. I'm too dumb to quit them. They're still my team. They lose to Charlotte somehow. Wasn't sure anyone was going to lose to Charlotte, but Lauri Markkanen had an amazing game. Yeah, it was just an exciting start to the season, despite the fact that they lost. I don't exactly know what happened there. Kobe White had a good game. Rookie coming out, getting 17 points, but the 7 assists made me happy because I think of him as a scorer coming out of college. He's got that quick trigger, so I wasn't sure how involved he'd be in the offense. Thomas Satoransky only played 24 minutes, so that could be affecting it. That Kobe White got a couple more minutes than Satoransky. I'd rather Dunn not be playing at all, but he actually played pretty well. So, I mean, on the tape, the stats don't really show it. Don't pick him up. He's Chris Dunn. So yeah, it was a fun game to watch, and I am saying that about Bulls Charlotte, and that's a surprise. From Charlotte's side of the ball, besides winning, Terry Rozier didn't do that much, and personally, it made me go like, because I don't love the player. Now, he might be a guy who puts up a bunch of stats this year. He's on a lot of lists. I think I said in the other video, I think of him kind of like the possibility of like Antoine Walker when he was on those older teams that weren't good, and Walker was just putting up a ton of numbers. Like, that could be the case for Rozier, but since I don't have him on any of my teams, him having a down day one made me go like, beyond that, PJ Washington, holy crap, 7 3-pointers. And it made me feel extra dumb because if I'm being honest, that made me say, who's PJ Washington? He's a rookie. He went to Kentucky, but because he's on Charlotte, I didn't really pay much attention. And I'm a lot more into NBA than I am into college ball. So with them exiting Kentucky got knocked out, I think, in the Elite Eight last year. So I just didn't see a lot of them playing. So I had the moment where I was watching going, who's lighting up the Bulls? Because I'm not familiar with this face or name, and that is a weird feeling for someone who watches hoops as much as me. All right, going on to the next game. Detroit versus Indy. Much like the Bulls losing, is a little bit of a bummer for the Pacers that they weren't able to win without Blake Griffin there. But Andre Drummond had an awesome game. So this might be a situation where if Drummond can keep doing this, Blake's going to miss first 5-10 games of the season. So if Blake's going to be out for the first couple of weeks and Drummond keeps doing this, it might be an early chance for you to try and sell high. Someone in your league isn't paying attention. Not yet. Like, ride this. But that was awesome. On the flip side, if he's going to get 32 points and 23 rebounds, and importantly for Drummond, got 8 of 10 from the line, if he's going to hit 80%, hold on, I should back up. That's a big if. This is all small sample size. I'm not saying that's going to happen. So enjoy the ride right now. We should revisit this in a couple more games, see where it goes. Because once Blake Griffin comes back, usage-wise, it should just change. Like, if you saw it on the floor, and it was cool, but there was a lot of, like, Drummond Rose pick and roll. And so Blake Griffin coming in is probably just going to change that. But, yeah, enjoy it while it's lasting. Jumping over to Minnesota versus Brooklyn. Oh, my God, Karl Anthony Towns is so fun to watch. Karl Anthony Towns and Kyrie Irving just went off. I'm sure you've probably seen some highlights and stuff. Kyrie Irving, like 50 points in a debut with a new team, set the new record, which is one of those set the records. That seems like a really weird record-eating track. Yeah, play-wise, I don't have a ton to share there yet, but maybe I'll have more when I go back and try and edit in some video to actually see some game. Just trying to do the high-level quick hits. So let's jump over to Memphis, Miami. On Miami side of the ball, Tyler Hero got a lot of play time, which I'm sure people are excited about. Everyone's been pretty pumped up about him, like, since the preseason started. Justice Winslow did well. Bam didn't hurt them, which is nice. No, really, he got 14 and 11. So, yeah, it went pretty well. I mean, it was a closer game, and then Miami just, like, ran away. I guess maybe it wasn't that close, I should say. But in my mind, I was going for it was a closer game, and then Ja Morant just wasn't playing. So on the Memphis side of the ball, Ja Morant looked good, what we saw, but he only played 25 minutes. Not exactly sure why. He only ended up with 4 fouls. But, you know, he can pass well. The 4 assists, I feel like he had a better game than that. He had 6 turnovers, but hopefully you're not playing in a league with turnovers because that's kind of bogus. But I get a lot of people still play with that. And if that's the case, he's a rookie point guard. And rookies turn the ball over a lot. Rookie point guards turn the ball over a ton. So, but the amazing thing, I guess, for Memphis, which you can see in the box score, but just looked so different, they attempted 32 three-pointers. Slow Memphis, like slow plotting Memphis that we've been seeing for years, attempted 32 three-pointers. Miami, on the other side of the ball, only attempted 18. So they were gunning. So if they're going to run and shoot that fast, especially on a team that's developing, there might be a lot of fantasy goodness here with some players. Like I said, I mean, Brandon Clark had an okay game, nothing stand out. 8 and 7, you know, a block. But in the prior video, I talked about him being unowned, so he might be available for you to come pick him up. Jumping over, well, Boston, Philly, I believe that's nationally televised, so I'm not going to waste the time talking about it because you probably got to watch it. Sorry if that's not true. And if there's a game you really want some extra input on or didn't get to see, go ahead and leave it in the comments. I can try and come back to it, but I'm just trying to make this like as efficient as possible for you. Like, if you're giving me your time to watch, I really appreciate that. And if you're doing it to support the new channel, great. I'm glad we got new subscribers. If you're doing it just for support, I could probably talk about anything you don't care. But if you're doing it for basketball, I figure the nationally televised games everyone has access to. So if you're into basketball, there's a good chance you got to see that, and I shouldn't waste my time with that. Of course, I'm wasting your time explaining my methodology. But if that doesn't work for you, leave in the comments. Correct it. I can change this up. It's a new show. All right. So let's go to Dallas versus the Wizards. Porzingis' game was good. I mean, nothing like stood out. What we got here? He had 23 points in 29 minutes. But overall, what I want to say about it is he looked good. He looked healthy. It's the first we've seen him in so long. He only got 4 rebounds, but this is one of those 4 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, a block. All of these stats I'm giving, I mean, like I was talking about Drummond earlier, obviously it's all small sample size right now. Like the season's just starting. Let's not go too nuts. But it looked good. Luka is awesome. Got you 34 points, but not a ton of assists, which is fine. His game's his game. You get 9 rebounds of a guy that's playing point guard. That's great, but you do have to kind of like construct your team in a different way to make sure that you're getting the assists somewhere else. But, maybe that's where you go get Ja, who's got a chance to be up in the top 10 for assists this year, maybe top 5. It's weird to say that about a rookie, so I don't want to go too far without kind of sitting down and writing my list. People like to declare top 5 all the time. All right, let's jump over to Oklahoma City and Utah. This one I thought was interesting on the Utah side of the ball. So Mike Conley gets to come out with his new team and has a pretty poor night. Like if you're just looking at the box score, 6% from the floor. That is awful. But what actually happened, I mean, that did actually happen. But if you watch the game, like Connolly's lower night, still Donovan Mitchell has never got to play next to a guard like Mike Conley, and you could see it. The open looks like that's the pressure off of Donovan Mitchell like really showed, and it really showed in the box score. Like if you go look at it, talking 32 points, 12 rebounds, which I don't know if you can really credit Conley being there, but we'll take it. I wouldn't count on that. Was 7 defensive rebounds. I wouldn't count on that all season long, but Mitchell just torched. That is pretty awesome. Utah was able to get the win, but Connolly, I think, he's going to have better nights. It's not going to be like this. It's crazy. So he could be a buy low, depending on, generally I don't really advise like jumping in and making a move the first week of season. And I say that, but I have a tradition, and people who play in leagues with me know that I tend to send out trade offers the moment the draft is done. So, I may be offering you advice that's like, do as I say, not as I do type of thing. But Connolly could be a buy low. He had a dud performance. Someone's just looking at the numbers. You might be able to pull a little switch. Maybe pull a switch with one of the Knicks. Like I said, I didn't really get to watch the Knicks games, but just going through the box scores for it before doing the live cast, I looked and went, the Knicks had 16 steals as a team. Like, that doesn't quite seem right. I mean, looking at Utah's box score right now, I know I'm talking about 2 different games, but Utah only had 4 steals as a team all night. The Knicks had 16, which stood out. So I took a look. Julius Randle had 3. Morris had 3. Bobby Portis had 2. I mean, a couple of these guys we've seen for years. These aren't guys who are known for steals, so like that's kind of a fluke. I would not count on that. If you're just sorting based on averages, you're going to get some Knicks big men popping up in the list as like, oh, hey, I'm ranked in the top 50 players in fantasy, and that is going to be some bullshit. So, those could be some moves where you're like, oh, I really need a point guard. Look at that game, for the Knicks. Maybe I can flip it for Connolly. Probably not. As with any kind of trade advice, people will just be like, yeah, that no one's going to go for that or whatever. But sometimes you can get a real steal here. You find a dud game, find someone who blew out that you don't believe in, and just go for it. I think that's about all I have that I just kind of like high level stuff I wanted to talk about. I want to come back hopefully tonight, maybe tomorrow, with some of the things I am talking about, and then try and show it. So I'll get some game film and try and talk over it and stuff like that. But obviously that takes me longer to produce than just like reading my notes, off the legal pad. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. Looks like the live stream actually went. That was a big part of this, was I wanted to test to see if the live stream would go without any errors. It looks like I've worked it out. The internet stayed live. So like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. And if you know what I'm talking about with the internet, go ahead and leave a comment down below so I know we're like-minded. Cheers, everyone.